Most people use Maya with keyframes. They key certain things to happen from one time to another, from frame 1 to frame 120. For example, a car moves from left to right. You set a key at 0 or 1, and you set another key at 120, and at the key 1 the car is on the left, and on time 120, that's 4 seconds later, it's on the right, and you set keys and the car will move there. That's a basic concept. Now there's another concept which is time independent, and it has to do with keys as well, and most people don't know it. It's called the set driven key. I've created two objects. There's a polygon cylinder and this is a NURBS cube, and what I want to do is, when I move, translate so to say, the cube up and down, I want the torus to rotate. Pretty simple. I would usually do that with keyframes. Torus be at 0, then I move it up, and torus be at 90 degrees, and set keys, and I can run the animation. It will do that. But independent of the animation, I can use the concept of setting driven keys. Under the animation set, there's the menu key, and instead of picking set key, which is the key S on the keyboard, I go to set driven key now, and I choose set, which basically opens an empty window. The empty window wants a driver and a driven, and I want this cube to drive the torus. So let's load the cube into the driven section by load selected as driver. Now Maya wants to know, and things won't work otherwise, which parameter wants to be works as the driver, and it's to translate Y up and down. We could use left and right or scale. If we make the cube bigger, the rotation starts, or whatever. But in this case, we just want to move it up and down, and the torus should just rotate, nothing else. So now we pick the torus for down here. Load selected as the driven, which is down here. Again, we need to select parameters, and here we can choose more if we like, which is the rotation parameters X, Y, and Z. So the translate Y of the cube is driving the torus rotation, whatever. Now I move the cube down and pick the torus as well. And what I want to say with this situation now is, when the cube is down here, I want the torus to be rotated like this, being flat on the floor, and I set a key. Now I go up with a cube. I think I need to select the other one too, and no, I select only the other one, and now I rotate the torus. I rotate it pretty wildly, like this. I select both. I think I need to select both, and I set another key, and that's it. Now when I pick the cube and move it downwards, the torus rotates. And watch out where it stops. It stops down here. That's where I set the first driven key. This is where the animation starts, and here it stops. Further up, nothing happens. So in this region, I've connected directly the rotation of the torus to the altitude of the cube. And of course you can drive other parameters as well. For example, and by the way, when I move it left and right, nothing happens with the torus, but anywhere where I am left or right, the up and down parameter works. I can change the color, for example, of the torus by, well, maybe the left and right motion. Left and right is, I think, Z. So here it's translate Z is supposed to drive not the rotation or whatever. So now I need to load the shader of the torus into the driven section. Here is the shader, it's a Fong E. I need to select it. Now the torus is deselected because it's all about the Fong E now, the color, and now I load the selected as the driven. And here we have the Fong E in this window, and we can control the colors now, and we say OK with a cube here on the left. I want the color to be very dark red. Select both and set a key. Now I move the box to the right, select both, and the Fong E should be, well, green, very bright. And I set another key. Close this window. Now what's happening now? The Z position of the cube regulates the color of the torus. Plus, when I move it up and down, it rotates. So if I want to just look at the torus, imagine this is invisible, I just animate it or move it, and I want a sort of grayish, brownish color to rotate, I just pick that color here, a brownish, and then I rotate the brown torus. And of course I can do it in both directions, like this. And this is basically the driven key.